Canelo said that Golovkin, he needs to fight somebody. He needs to fight somebody that's going to complicate him. He compared his last 10 opponents to Golovkin's last opponents. What do you think about Canelo saying that?
That's bullshit to me because you can't force guys to fight you. Golovkin hasn't been in the same with the same caliber of guys as Canelo because those guys don't want to fight Golovkin. That's it. So you can't put a gun at somebody's head and make them get in the ring. You can't compare the level of opposition when people won't fight you. You can't knock somebody for being so good that guys won't fight them, and then you say who they fight. Of course, who they fight. Nobody wants to fight them, including you. So how you gonna compare that? You know. So what about for me that argument is irrelevant.
You don't feel it, then it must be too real to touch. You'll never in your life try to knock the truth. The illest shit ever. Get ready, 'cause this is about to get heavy.
Trying to keep me out, trying to censor what I say, 'cause they don't like what I'm talking about. So it's wrong with the media today.
Prove I'm lying if I ain't correct.
What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Now, I want to talk about famed Mexican boxing star Julio Cesar Chavez, boxeo legend, and talk about recent comments he made regarding the fight with Canelo versus Golovkin, or potential fight. Before I get started, I want to tell you guys a quick disclaimer. You will see new media style, some comments from videos that I've done regarding Canelo versus Triple G, and I just have to say it's not looking good. New media, it's not just about saying stuff, it's about showing your work. You remember in math class where it's not about just getting the right answer, it's about showing your work, and that's what I'm doing. So you guys will see comments from fans and alleged boxing fans, racist comments about me being a hater and biased and I have something against Canelo. And I find it ironic because you have a Mexican boxing legend who has sons that fight in Julio Cesar Chavez, who is mirroring the same sentiments as me, myself, and a bunch of other people regarding this Canelo Triple G situation. So Chavez Sr. was on his show on ESPN Deportes, Los Golpes, and this is what he had to say regarding a Canelo Triple G fight. Canelo and his handlers are waiting until Golovkin gets old. He thinks that is the plan of action. He also says nobody wants to fight Golovkin, and he, in return, does not want to go up in weight to super middleweight where the opponents are better. So he was offered good money for the fight against Kell Brook, a welterweight fighter who Triple G knows won't be able to do anything, right? Then he also goes on and he's talking about cutting weight, how it's very important, could play a major role in any contest. He says a single pound could be the difference between a fighter coming in fresh or coming in without energy. We know how important even 1 pound can be. Even 50 grams can lose a title. The body is dried out and it is not able to provide you with energy. Now I'm going to play a quick clip from an Ego Weight Watchers that I did with Canelo, and someone said I was hating on that video, and here it is. And it looks like he's in good shape, and he needs to be, because this is his first fight in 5 fights where he's dropping that extra pound. And I know some people don't understand weight and they say, oh, it's just a pound, you're bugging, Ego. But pounds matter. Half a pound matters. So you guys heard where I was talking about Canelo dropping back down the extra 1 pound for the Liam Smith fight, and Chavez Sr. said the exact same thing. So it's actually rewarding to hear industry professionals and people who have very similar thoughts to things that I put out there. Now, I agree wholeheartedly with what Chavez is saying, and it's funny because he kind of killed 2 birds with 1 stone. He's being objective. He told what he felt with Canelo. He says, I believe his handlers and him, they're prolonging the fight and trying to wait till Golovkin ages a bit, right? And he also said Golovkin, at this age, he needs people, he's basically saying he needs people on his resume, and he could step up to super middleweight, maybe even step up and then step back down if you can't get any fights at 160. And 168 clearly has some challenges up there, but he doesn't do that. And that's something else that I've said. So just with new media, it's not just about saying, it's about proving it. And a lot of the shit that I hear you guys say in the comment section, the casuals, you don't hear professionals and trainers. And as far as the detractors, people get on my channel like, oh, Ego, you're racist, you're biased, double standard, you hate Canelo. Why do you have a Mexican legend, a former fighter, right, who still does exhibitions and can still throw things, like Julio Cesar Chavez, and he's saying the exact same thing. But you see the comments that are floating throughout the screen, racist comments, monkeys, and this and that, and you're a Canelo hater. So what does that mean to Chavez Sr., who's saying the exact same thing? And it's becoming too hard with new media for you guys to pass on the bullshit. These are smoke screens, and this is a simple case of trying to throw the dogs off the scent. You'd rather point your fingers and say, oh, ego, huh? That's the bad guy, right? And he just hates Canelo. But it's becoming too hard because more prominent figures are speaking up, like Julio Cesar Chavez, right? You also have guys like Alfredo El Perro Angulo, who said very similar things about the Canelo fight with Triple G. He says Canelo is basically ducking, and that's not what Mexican fighters do. He's not a warrior. He's a Nina, which is basically a little girl. He has no balls. You have another Mexican warrior like Orlando Salido, who's been in there with Juan Manuel Marquez, Robert Guerrero. He's been in there with Yuriorkis Gamboa. He beat Vasil Lomachenko. Been in there with Mikey Garcia, and he's saying the same thing. He says Canelo's being protected right now, and that's not the way of the samurai, basically. So again, it's becoming harder and harder to just pass this off as, oh, only people who love Floyd Mayweather or TMT fans or PBC lovers or Canelo haters are the ones saying this, when you have legends like Julio Cesar Chavez who's saying, again, the exact same thing. I mean, at one point, like, who else needs to spell it out for you? One of the things that's worse with this, and let new media bring it up, Canelo has been on record on several occasions stating his favorite fighters of all time. In that list, very short list, I think it was 3 fighters, and I've heard him on more than one interview. I'm sure you guys can find the same interviews on YouTube if you don't believe me, new media. But Canelo listed Muhammad Ali, Oscar de la Hoya, and drumroll please, Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. as his all-time favorite fighters. So that has to hurt when you're one of your idols, basically one of the people that inspired you to get in the sport, is saying things like that, like, oh, you're waiting for him to slow up and get old. Now I gotta address this too, because the other thing I'm hearing from detractors is, yeah, Golden Boy and Canelo, they took the Oscar de la Hoya, they stole the blueprint from Floyd Mayweather, right? But first things first, if somebody's doing something that you don't condone, a lot of these people left comments like, fuck Floyd, he's ruining boxing. Even Oscar de la Hoya, he had that Dear Floyd letter where he condemned Floyd and said, hey, boxing will be so much better without you. Like, and now his fighter, his last like prized possession of his marquee names, is under an immense amount of pressure and backlash for not taking tough enough challenges, avoiding Golovkin, dropping his belt. So it just seems mighty hypocritical, you know what I mean, that people condemn Floyd. But more importantly is, if you hated Floyd when he did that, if you think that's what he did with his whole career, was cherry pick and wait till people got out of prime to fight him, even though guys like Shane Mosley, he said he'll fight him, and Shane Mosley, when asked post-fight, he said my tooth is loose, and Shane's my dude, shout out to Mosley. But these are all facts, right? But aside from all of that, if that's what you feel is his blueprint, why wouldn't you go and be your own man and do your own thing if you didn't condone it? Why are all of a sudden fans condoning stuff that they said they hated? They said they hated the Floyd era. So why would you condone it when someone else is doing it? Floyd's retired, so you don't have to worry about him. Why would you want this new generation of fighters to do what you said you hated that Floyd did? It makes no sense. But furthermore, beyond that is, if this is not, a lot of people are comparing this to Mayweather Pacquiao. It's not. Canelo Triple G, mark my words, when it does happen, if it does happen, will not do anywhere near the financial gross of Mayweather Pacquiao. Pacquiao has several fights that did over 1 million pay-per-view buys. Mayweather also holds records for all the top 3 fights, and he's done several million plus buys on their own before they fought each other. So it's only natural to say that they, when they join forces, it's like Voltron is going to generate all these crazy numbers, right? Canelo and Triple G aren't doing that. Canelo, his highest non-Mayweather fight, right? His highest pay-per-view was his fight with Cotto, and that still didn't do over $1 million. Now, I'm not saying Canelo Triple G can't do over $1 million, because if it happens soon, then I think it could do great numbers, right? But either way, the bottom line is they're not Mayweather and Pacquiao. The industry is different. You have streaming, you have different things. Mayweather and Pacquiao came up in their own era. And aside from that, Mayweather-Pacquiao is totally different, because the things that created a blockage in that fight is not necessarily the same things that is blocking this fight, like drug testing. Mayweather was like, I wasn't just walking through no damn body. Health comes first, and I'm willing to fight him. We just got to do it on an even playing field, and we got to do the Olympic-style blood and urine drug test. Pacquiao's team did not want to agree to it for whatever reason. They didn't like the cutoff times. They said, oh, Freddie Roach and Pacquiao were saying, oh, Mayweather's not our boss, and we do equal numbers. He's not the commission. Let the commission do their job. So that was the first big riff and hang up in Mayweather and Pacquiao not happening. Then other things happened, like the $40 million no pay-per-view back-end phone call and stuff like that. In addition, Floyd was claiming that Bob Arum, his former promoter, because he was with Top Rank, which some of you newbies probably don't even know that, he was with Top Rank and bought himself out of his contract. He said Bob Arum still owed him back money from the Zab Judah fight and other fights and other taxes or finances or whatever, and Arum stiffed him. So that's another reason why he may not have wanted to work with Bob Arum. Another issue was the network. Floyd didn't like the way he was treated on HBO. He moved over to Showtime, right? Pacquiao stayed on HBO. And now you had a conflict of interest with the networks. Who's going to promote it? What announcers are they going to use? That's not the case. None of that is the case with Canelo Triple G. They're both back on HBO. Well, Golovkin never left, but Canelo did for a period of time, went on Showtime. Now he's back on HBO for his last few fights. And they're on the same network. The promoters can work together. And there's no like Cold War there. So there's really no issue. There's no reason to let it marinate, because it's not like Golovkin has to do more. He has damn near all the belts at middleweight. He has a name. He's selling out in the West Coast, the East Coast, now in the UK for his Kell Brook fight. He has a sponsorship deal with Jordan, right? He was in an Apple commercial. So even though his pay-per-view with David Lemieux flopped, you still can't say he's like absolutely no star. He's definitely not a lesser star than Liam Smith. You know what I'm saying? Golovkin fighting Brook in the UK is probably better ticket sales and everything than any Liam Smith fight, right? So he clearly has some star power, especially if he were to fight another star. And as far as we all know, Canelo's the A side in that equation. He has the better numbers. He has the better resume for the Floyd Mayweathers and stuff like that. So I think Golovkin and his team understand that. They're not expecting to have top billing. They know it's going to say Canelo Golovkin. They know Canelo, if he wants to walk out second, he gets that opportunity. They know he might be able to pick this and that and things like that. As long as it's at 160, I think Golovkin is okay with it. And as far as the purse split, they know they're not going to get the lion's share of money, right? They're not going to take what Oscar De La Hoya offered them, 90 to 10%, nothing crazy like that. But if it's fair and Canelo's just getting the lion's share for the opportunity, I really believe Golovkin's team would take the fight. If it's at 160 for a fair share of money, not 90-10 or something crazy, then there's a fight. So stop comparing it to Mayweather-Pacquiao. We waited 5 years. Nobody really wanted to wait 5 years, but we had to. But there was a lot more variables that went into that particular fight. Like I said, network issues, drug testing, promoter / ex-fighter beefs. None of that is the case with Canelo Triple G. So again, it's becoming harder and harder for fans to just point the finger when people are giving their views about it doesn't look good for Canelo. It doesn't look good him not fighting Golovkin, putting this pressure, because you have guys like Julio Cesar Chavez, Sr., a countryman, and he's saying the exact same things that are mirroring what myself and a lot of others are saying regarding this fight. There's nothing you could say. It's really a wrap. You got Salido and all these. It's not just any one race saying these things. So clearly it's a fight that people want. I check my YouTube analytics all the time, and if you look at any video I did with Canelo and Triple G in that subject, those videos usually have good views. You know what I mean? The viewership's good. So clearly there's an interest there, because I've done a ton of videos regarding this fight when new news comes out, new clippings, new quotables, and they almost always get good views, right? So there's genuinely an interest there. It doesn't need to marinate, and you can no longer just say it's only Floyd Mayweather fans who hate Canelo and PBC fans and PBC lovers. These are the only people putting pressure on Canelo. The pressure is universal, and it's coming from guys that Canelo inspired, like Julio Cesar Chavez. So it's going to be real interesting if Canelo gets past Liam Smith to see who he picks next, what his next move is. I know it's probably not going to be Golovkin, but it just seems like it would behoove Golden Boy to just make the fight, you know what I mean? And especially since Canelo says I can beat this guy. Let's see it. Let me know what you guys think. Share the video, like the video as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.